farms or shops along the way have any images of Tia. They also checked the shopping centre footage and she was not seen. It was as if she disappeared into thin air. Nonetheless, police still had reason to believe that Tia did leave the house that day, as Stuart and Christine's neighbour confirmed that he had seen her leaving the house. Stuart Hazel, however, felt that police and the general public were treating him of young girls, including Tia, along with revealing pictures and videos of Stuart pleasuring himself. The girls in these videos looked very similar to Tia, with dark hair and glasses. None of them looked any older than 13. It was very clear he had an attraction to young girls, and Tia specifically. In one of the videos of Tia, she was applying moisturiser to her legs and was completely unaware that she was being filmed. He had taken another video whilst he was asleep. He stalked his way around the bed, shoving the camera in her face. Every time Tia stirred or made a noise, he would pull away because he knew what he was doing was wrong. There were videos of a young girl he had brought up as his granddaughter since she was 2 years old. She loved him and had no idea his intentions for their relationship were completely different in his eyes. The videos that depicted Stuart performing sexual acts on himself, including the use of objects that were recovered from the house. A vibrator was recovered from the home, and when tested, the blood DNA belonged to 12-year-old Tia Sharp, showing the murder was sexually motivated. Police would later also find internet searches on his computer for naked girlies, illegal underage incest pics, violent forced rape, and little girls with glasses. Tia wore glasses. Perhaps the most sickening piece of evidence found in the case was a photograph taken of Tia after she had died. The picture depicted Tia naked on all fours on a bed, but does not show her face. It is alleged that 37-year-old Stuart Hazel essayed the schoolgirl before killing her and hiding her body in the loft. Forensic pathologist Dr. Ashley Fagan-Earl told a jury at the Old Bailey that in his opinion the person in the photograph was dead when it was taken. He told jurors that there was irregular mottling on the back of the thighs that made him come to this conclusion, and suggested the girl had been left lying on her back for some time after death. Stuart had positioned her body in a sexual position and taken the photo from a specific angle to prolong the sexual gratification he received from the murder. He probably looked at the photo several times following Tia's murder. Upon the breaking news that Tia's body had been found, tributes poured in for the little girl, with many leaving flowers and teddy bears close to the scene. Natalie was overcome with emotion as she visited the site where scores of people left tributes for her daughter, and who believed to have been left by Miss Shotred. "Oh baby girl, we love you very much and always will. Sorry baby that this has happened. I wish I was there to protect you. We know you are safe now and you are at home with us everywhere we go." Almost a year after Tia Sharp's murder, the trial began. Stuart Hazel pled not guilty, even though he was very confident in his plea throughout his trial. He refused to look at Natalie and Christine. When the photos from the SD card were shown in court, several people, including Natalie, had to leave because they were so overwhelmed. Observing the extent of the violation he had done to this innocent 12-year-old girl that he raised as a granddaughter that she trusted, and seeing what he did after she was dead was too much for the entire courtroom. A few days into the trial, Stuart changed his plea to guilty of murder for the simple reason he was too scared and did not want to deal with the cross-examination of his story. If he pled not guilty, he would have to tell the courtroom his version of events of Tia falling down the stairs, and asked numerous questions regarding this. He knew he could not handle this because his story was inherently On May the 14th, 2013, Stewart was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 38 years. He will be 35 years old when he is eligible for parole. Additionally, the neighbour who stated he saw Tia leave that day was sentenced to 5 months in prison for wasting police time, as he could not have seen her leave because she was already dead. He specifically said it was Tia he saw leaving the house, not a random girl, but why he lied to the police is still unknown. Met Commander Neil Bazoo, who was responsible for finding Tia, insisted that her body had been well concealed and that human error had prevented the child's body from being found during searches at her grandmother's home. He went on to add that the PC who had conducted the first search was inexperienced and was given words of advice, the lowest form of disciplinary action. The House of Horrors where Tia Sharp was brutally murdered has since been torn down in fear that it would become a macabre attraction. Today, newly built homes stand in place. That is the end of today's case. I believe someone requested me to do this case, or a case, I'm pretty sure it was Tia